Step 2 of my Crayon Batik. As you can see, I have covered as much of my paper as I can with the crayons. Okay, so my next step is to crumple my paper. We crumple our paper to help break up some of the wax, so that way we can still have some of the dyeing effect that a traditional batik has. So I'm going to crumple my paper very carefully because I can rip it because it is just paper. I'm going to crumple it. I'm going to open it back up. I'm going to crumple it again. We want the paper to go from kind of stiff to hard. Now, if I'm not careful, like I said, I will rip it, and then that will be kind of disappointing. I'm going to smooth it out, and I'm going to crumple it one last time. 3 seems to really be where it is. Now, my paper is smaller than yours, so you might end up with needing to do it 4 times, but I'm going to crumple it up each time, opening it up very carefully. Now, if you have the glitter crayons, they might be a little bit on the sticky side and they might stick together. You might also have some extra crayon that kind of flakes off, which I will ask you to go and shake off in the trash can. Alright, so that way it's not on my floor and everywhere else, because it will get on other people's papers. So now, as you can see, I smoothed it out. And I do have a couple little rips here and there. I wasn't as careful as I thought I was, but that's okay. I'm going to still move on to the next step. Now, what I have is I have some black liquid tempera paint, and I added just a teeny tiny splash of water to it, just to kind of thin it out a little bit. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that black tempera paint, and I'm going to paint over my entire paper. I want to cover up the entire paper. So the smoother I can lay this back out, the better. I will give you guys some newspaper to put underneath yours. I forgot to grab that, but Mr. Mark saved us some additional newspapers, so that way I have plenty of newspapers. I just forgot to stick one underneath mine because I don't usually use them. But I will give you guys a newspaper to go underneath. Okay, so we crumple to make the paper soft. It also kind of breaks up some of the wax. If you have the glitter crayons, you will probably have some extra peeling off, maybe some sticking together a little bit. So just be extra careful so that way it comes apart or it comes off without ripping it, okay? When you do crumple, you do have to be on the careful side to make sure that you aren't tearing it. But even like I said, I mean, like I've done several of these and I still tore this one today. So it can happen, okay? So I'm just going to finish painting this entire thing black. You will have a choice of a few colors. It won't be all the colors I have. But you will have a choice of a few colors that you can select from. So it'll just kind of depend on what you would like. It's not going to be whatever colors you want, but you will have a couple of color choices to pick from. And then you will just paint the entire thing that color. Notice how I'm spreading out the paint. I am not leaving it gloppy anywhere. I'm spreading it out so that way it has kind of a nice even layer. The paint is acting as our dye because we don't have fabric, so we're not going to use fabric dye like they would in a traditional batik. So, as I said, I'm just going to continue painting on my black. I have a smaller piece of paper, so it won't take quite as long. And then I will come back with another video and show you what our last and final step, well, what the artistic process is. You still have your rubric that you have to fill out after you finish your very last step, which is not today. Then you're one step closer to being done. So I will come back with my next video as to what it is our next step is after this paint has had a chance to dry. Okay?